I suppose there are many complaints that you can have about a sitting MP, a Conservative or a Labour or a Lib Dem MP. Soon you'll be able to say a Reform or a Green or a Galloway MP. But there are complaints that people can nurture. I think the biggest complaint that can ever be directed at a sitting MP is when they resign after the election has been called. And there's 7 of them that I can think of. You may think of a few more. There's 7 of them who resigned after Rishi Sunak called an election. This leaves no time at all for their party to select their replacement. It's their fault that there isn't any time for. Michael Portillo explained it very nicely the other day. He said it doesn't allow the constituency association any time to bed in new people, to select a suitable replacement, to introduce the new candidate to the local electorate, to ensure an organised and prepared campaign. It's all rushed. And the list is quite interesting. Hugh Merriman, Joe Churchill, the employment minister, Hugh Merriman, the transport minister, stepped down on the first full day of the election campaign. Joe Churchill announced her resignation on the same day. Greg Clark, a former cabinet minister, he ought to have known better, declared his resignation shortly after the election was called. John Redwood, another prominent figure and another shit. Sir Michael Ellis, the MP for Northampton North, and a former Attorney General who ought to have known better. James Grundy, representing the Red Wall seat of Lee, elected in 2019. Dame Eleanor Lang, the Deputy Speaker of the Commons and the MP for Epping Forest. Again, she ought to have known better. All of these, 7 of them that I can think of, utter shits. It doesn't matter which party they stand for. They are beneath contempt because they are cocking a snook at their own local party. They're saying, I don't care, I'm putting my own security before yours. I don't even have the guts to stand. There are others. Richard Holden, Richard Holden, who of course has put himself forward for Basildon and Billericay to save his skin, but he has effectively sort of thumbed a snook at his original constituency up in Durham or something. That Michael Portillo is quite right. The short notice, the impact on the constituency, the party logistics. In 2019, Joe Johnson resigned for Orpington shortly before the 2019 election, but well into the election period's heightened activities. It caused considerable logistical challenges. Heidi Allen, she announced she wouldn't be standing in the election after it was called. The same issues of short notice and abrupt transition arrangements. So I don't know really whether I think it's more distasteful to look at the story of Richard Holden dumping an unsafe seat in Durham for a safe seat in Basildon and Billericay, 300 miles away, simply because he wants to save his own skin, simply because he's the Conservative Party chairman. Who is that? When Jeremy Hunt faces defeat and he's the Chancellor of the Exchequer, no one has ever heard of Richard Holden. He's holding the purse strings of the party. Who cares? If he doesn't have the backbone to be loyal to the group, to the local party that nurtured him, he should not be taken on, and he should be rejected by the people in quote the safe seat. He should be rejected. They should stay at home. They shouldn't elect him. Why would you want to elect such a turncoat, such an universal shit? It's one thing to wimp out at the last minute and leave everybody with egg on their faces. It's another thing to think that you can use local people like Richard Holden. As I say, I don't know which one is worse. I'd be really interested in your thoughts. It's got nothing to do with whether you want to vote for Labour or you want to vote for Conservative, whoever you want to vote for. It's about propriety. It's about good manners. It's about loyalty. And in this case, of course, it's all about the MP's personal ambition, which is put before their duty, their responsibility. The only reason we elect these people is because we are giving them responsibility. We are asking them to represent us in Westminster. And if they're not capable of doing anything honourable, they shouldn't be they shouldn't be considered at all. At all. They should be consigned to the rubbish bin of history, where they belong. Maybe somebody in 20, 30, 200 years can find out about them by brushing up the crumbs from the Bodleian Library. That is what they deserve. They deserve to be the waste paper of tomorrow. They certainly don't deserve to be on the ballot boxes and the ballot papers of today. As I say, please leave your comments. I'd be really interested to know what you've got to say about this one.